sometimes I feel guilty. I like to think, and I like to try talking about thinking, and I know I've tortured a lot of people. I didn't know how to read it before because, to be honest, I was so succumb and uh, adulated with just like hearing my own voice talk about things I want to talk about. But now I'm starting to notice other people's faces, and it's usually just like, oh my god, it's like I'm there, big like it's like how would I word this? It's like I was someone they were close to's pet, and the person they were close to disappeared, and they don't know where they are, and they feel like they need to take care of me. And when I go off into like my mindy stuff, I take a shit in their living room. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, open world. I'm doing my best. I'm trying to become a better social steward. You know, try to listen before I pontificate. But I like to think. All right, I like integral theory because it's a very expressive model. Now, if you don't remember what the hell integral theory is, I'm going to pretend like I'm going to reintroduce it when I'm really just going to do a quick high hand pass, and you're just going to have to watch the other videos that do almost as poor of a job as this one explaining. This is all this is all very playful, self-deprecating humor. I know that I'm fine. Uh, so the five elements of integral conflict. We have the four quadrants, stages and levels of development, transitional lines of development, states of conflict, and typologies. Now, these are applied with respect to conflict, but they're much broader. And the whole big idea is there are a lot of things going on at once, and that's what the four quadrants is trying to establish. All right. And maybe 85% of the time when people get into arguments, they're reducing or they're pretending that their favorite way of interpreting or experiencing the real world as it arises is the only way, and everyone else can suck it. And that's incorrect. That's the four quadrants part. Stages and levels of development basically say that growth, evolution, some type of change over time that doesn't suck is a component of life, and that the difference between stages of development and transitional lines of development is how we accrue or how the relevance of the previous stage. In stages and lines of development, every stage is the foundation for the next. In transitional lines, it's not true. I don't have a strong intuition about how to get into that fully, and it's part of the things that I'm still doing research on, because it's cool that there are these two expressive things, but I haven't had a strong intuition of when you would need to think of a stage and a transitional line at the same time. And I think the book is going to go into concrete examples. So I'll get that back to you. There's also states, which are just like the most transient, immediate snapshot of a system or person. Whether you're sweaty or hot. Just your immediate uh, response to an environment. And then they also have a very broad typologies, which is like personality type. So if you were to like walk down and address a given conflict, you would have someone who is very self-involved, who is a genius. What's a good? I don't know an example of a transitional line of development. Uh, who is a genius but very uncoordinated and sweaty and is shy about it. Is that it? Well, I'm just gonna assume that's the case. I'll work on that. All right. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make with this video is how expressive can this model get? And the answer is very expressive, which is to say that, well, one of the ways that I framed the four quadrants was basically saying, all right, there are insides to things and there are outsides to things. Agree or disagree. And hopefully most people would begrudgingly grunt and not take a spear and throw it at you just yet. And then there's also one thing and many things. Agree or disagree. And, hopefully, you get another happy grunt. Now, with the four quadrants, they stack up one thing on the inside, one thing on the outside, many things on the inside, many things on the outside. That's the four quadrants. But it can go even further. You can have one thing on the inside, thinking about things from the inside, from the outside, or one thing on the inside, thinking about things from the outside. So inners have outers, outers have inners, and woes have woes. So examples, all right. So individual subjective. This is the first quadrant, upper left hand side. If you need spatial mappings. So individuals direct live experience. That's an inquiry, right? That's called phenomenology, and you can describe that as and thinking about one interior with respect to its interior. Insight. And then you have T, patterns and structures. They give meaning to direct experience. So you have one individual with respect to the outside forces that affect or affect the direct experience, and that's structuralism. Individual objective. This is upper right hand side. So self-regulating behaviors. Have no fear. I don't have to pronounce this because I looked it up.
Autopoiesis.
Dude, Merriam-Webster says this is the bottom 30% of words. That's brutal. Autopoiesis, self-regulating behaviors. So it's one thing and its behavior on the outside, but with respect to some type of interiority and cohesion. The measurable behaviors of things, everyone's favorite thing to misunderstand, empiricism. Collective subjective, the science of interpretation. Oh, I don't think I have Google. Let me look this up real quick.
Hermeneutic.
Bottom 50% of words, brutal. Hermeneutic, right? Thank God for the internet, man. Hermeneutic. All right? Science of interpretation. And there's the investigation of patterns of mutual understanding within groups. So patterns, right? That's cultural criticism, critical theory. Collective exterior, right? This is the bottom right, and this was the bottom left-hand side. Science of interpretation. That's the wrong slide, sir. Hermeneutics. That's the reason why I went over the side to test myself. Hermeneutics. What was the other word? Autopoiesis. Hermeneutics. Autopoiesis. Here we go. Collective exterior. Self-regulating dynamics in a system. Social. Autopoiesis. Functional interrelationships of collective exteriors. Systems theories. All right. One day, when you get into some heated debate with your shadow or perhaps someone else, you can take a deep breath and be like, wait a minute, where is this person coming from? You know, do they have a systematic approach that they feel is absolutely true in all circumstances, or is this just a confused homeless person that just wants to rub on the back? You got to make that call. But sometimes, you know, there is a very attached, unrelinquishing person that doesn't want to accept that the world is open and doomed and beautiful, and that their one way that they feel gives them a little bit of security and a little bit of order is also doomed and beautiful, and you may have a little bit of something that complements their doom and beauty, and you know, maybe they should listen, and vice versa. Maybe you should listen. I don't know. I don't want to take sides on this hypothetical, but the point is that I learned how to pronounce autopoiesis. And the other one, oh, I forgot how to pronounce that one. Let me.
Hermeneutic.
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 Hermeneutic. Autopoietic. Wait, what was the other one?